time out. It's Kelsito, the spirit coach, getting you in shape and form for the age of Aquarius yet again. And we're going to talk about the positives and negatives to low and high standards. Because everything got like equilibrium. Everything got like a polar shift, you know what I'm saying? There's always going to be a positive with a negative to anything in life. I don't care how you put it. You know what I'm saying? I don't care how you put it, you know? It's always going to be that. All right? So when we get to it, y'all know the yin and yang is the the yin will be more correlated, you know what I'm saying, with the vibration, the feeling, you know what I'm saying? So that's more heavy, that's more dense. And the motherfucking yang will be more correlated with the, the masculine principle, externalizing, getting out of something that's low, having something to separate. So, you know what I'm saying? So this is when we get into standards on what high and low is, and then correlating those words with actually where they came from. So, high standard, you know what I'm saying? It would be something that would take you out of something low, you know what I'm saying? Or take you out of something negative. You know what I'm saying? And a low standard would be, you know what I'm saying? A low standard would be something that gives you a certain sense of security. So that's why you can do a low standard in a negative way, because you can have a low standard to be secure, but if that security ain't getting you from point A to point B, then that's where you need to set your standards a little bit more high, if you get what I'm saying. So when we talking about low and high standards, and the positives and negative, this is also tied to the body of water where we stay on our masculine, feminine principles. You got the masculine principles. What's good, Mari, too? I saw your message, too. Let me know if you need me to refund that. But, yeah, that's when we get into this. That's when we get into the position of, you know what I'm saying, understanding where we at, you know what I'm saying, as far as the 1, 2, and 3rd dimension. We have a physical vessel. You know what I'm saying? We're in the 3rd dimension and we're grounded. So, you know what I'm saying? This is all moving at low vibrational rates. You know what I'm saying? Or frequency vibration. That's how we even able to experience something for long periods at a time. So, but they all expire. So that lets you know that it is moving. It's just, a moment that is more dense than the moments that you may have with your thoughts or with your feelings. So those would be, your thoughts will be more correlated to higher vibrations, because they can. Now you can have a low high thought, you know what I'm saying? But getting to the positives and negatives. So low is correlated with O, it's correlated with growth, grounding, you know what I'm saying? O, anytime, you know what I'm saying, that's correlated with, you know what I'm saying, like anything that comes lower into density. And then when you got motherfucking a high, anything that's high, like I said, it just gets you out of something that's low. Okay, now the positives and negatives to low and high standards. Okay, so anytime we have a standard or whatever, you know what I'm saying, a standard is basically something that you can count on. It's a routine. It's a certain pattern. It's common. You know what I'm saying? It's a common standard. So if something is common, then that means it's low. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people are on that energy. A lot of people can tap into that energy force field and kind of resonate with that, you know what I'm saying? Whether if it was high, it would just be a fly idea, you know what I'm saying? That it will have to come down into reality in some way, shape, or form. So when you're talking about high and low standards, you know what I'm saying, you got to watch out for people too that make stuff that's low standard high vibrational, okay? And so when we talk about low and the energy in general, low is just is like I said, that's attainable, accessible. So for instance, a Bentley, a Bentley, you know what I'm saying, a motherfucking Bentley or a motherfucking house or jewelry or diamonds, that is a low vibrational, because it's not because it's like a negative thing. Y'all got to get out of y'all religious, aspect of what negative and positive is. But when you get to low vibrational, in a sense of what is low vibrational, this is when it puts you in a space of understanding frequency vibration and energy, and anything that comes into third dimension is energy, and that's like one of the lowest vibrations because it can be felt and things of that nature. All your higher natures, like your thoughts and shit, your imaginations, your creativity, you know what I'm saying, your visions, that shit is more so higher nature. So when we get into people giving, things low standard of high value, like I said, anybody can get a Bentley because it's accessible. That's why the positives. So let's get into this. The positive to that of having of that low standard of that house, you know what I'm saying, of that car, of that jewelry, of that money, you know what I'm saying, which is a low standard. The positive of that is that anybody can, once you get that, it kind of gives you a sense of security because it puts you in a position, you know what I'm saying? So it makes you secure. So that's the positive aspect of a low standard, you know what I'm saying? But also the negative aspect of the low standard, like I said, you can be secure in the wrong ways. You can be secure in the wrong areas. You can be secure, in ways that you don't necessarily, it's not necessarily good for your growth. You get what I'm saying? And so that's the thing about giving something that's low standard high value, because that's how we got shit today. Like I said, a Bentley or a Lamborghini is low vibrational because it's in a 1, 2, and 3rd dimension. And low vibrational is correlated to the 1, 2, and 3rd dimension. High vibrational will be more so created to your creative aspects, your thoughts, your mentalities and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? The things that take you out of this realm and separate you, but you already like separated in a sense of like you got both of these natures, but you might not know that just based on you being indoctrinated in some way, shape, or form. But it's cool. That's what we kind of do. And we kind of getting people on the level so they can know that, you know what I'm saying, you're not necessarily one thing or some shit like that. You a whole bunch of shit made up. You know what I'm saying? And you the creator of these things. But for the most part, when we get to back to low standard, like I said, that's why a low standard, you know what I'm saying, it can bring you security. Money can bring you security. Grounding can bring you security, you know what I'm saying? But the thing is about that, anybody can get that, you know what I'm saying? That's why it's people that y'all deem as negative or evil, in which they may very well be, or just, you know what I'm saying, and they can reach that sense of security, you know what I'm saying, because it's a low standard, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes they like to give those things high value, and that's what we got today, where, you know what I'm saying, everybody want a certain sense of security and things of that nature, but they don't know, you know what I'm saying, what it takes to get it, or they don't know, you know what I'm saying, or they don't understand it from the aspect that it need to be understood from. And so, you know, when you got things that are high value, you know what I'm saying, these are things that are like not really from, you know what I'm saying, not really on this realm form. Now you can get inspired by this realm, you know, as far as like signs, symbols, and sigils and shit like that, and things that can give you ideas that can, you know, that can take you out of any low vibrational nature. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? And then if you can do that so well, you can convince others. You know what I'm saying? So the positive to a high standard is that it can take you out of things that are lower nature and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, you can get something that's low vibrational. It can bring you security. But if you got all that and you're not actually, you know what I'm saying, happy with your life, happy with, you know what I'm saying, happy with your self, happy with your values, you know what I'm saying, and all that, you know, if you ain't happy with that shit, then, you know what I'm saying, or not even happy, because it ain't really about being happy. I'm just using that as a word. But for the most part, if you're not utilizing that polar shift of your spirit either, you know what I'm saying, trying to see from a higher point of view, this is when you get lost in the lower demon world and shit like that. And now if you're actually smart, then shit like that, you know what I'm saying, that you will see it from that point and perspective. Now the negative side of the higher nature is that you can get too lost in your own way of going about things, and you won't be connected, and you may need a sense of security, and you may be high and mighty in your head and shit like that, or in your imagination, but you know what I'm saying, you won't have no sense of security in some way, shape, or form. So you won't be able to ground yourself, you know what I'm saying, you won't be able to, you know, see that people might be saying shit about you that you need to get with and check with and shit like that to gain some goddamn security and things of that nature. So, you know, But for the most part, everybody need to get a sense of security. You know what I'm saying? So we got to kind of play both of these things. So like I said, none of these things are really negative or positive in a sense of morality, because sometimes you may have to play out both of these energies, positive and negative. So like I said, the negatives of being low vibrational, the negatives and positives of being low vibrational. So the positive is that you can gain a sense of security. The negative is a sense of that, you know what I'm saying, you can get stuck in that, like I said, or you can get stuck in that just by like praising of others of what you have part of security, and that can make you feel good, and then you might have to uphold that, you know what I'm saying, that you might have to uphold that, you know, that which is deemed negative and shit like that. And this is how people get stuck in their jobs and shit like that, and they get all these responsibilities because they done manifested so much low vibrational energies and shit like that. They don't know how to get from point A to point B, so they don't know how to use their high vibrational nature. So this is people like that, like go to school and only learn something like this, and they don't really ever tap into their creative natures or something like that. That's the negative, you know what I'm saying? They go too low, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. And then not only on top of that, they try to bring others down with them in some way, shape, or form. You know what I'm saying? They try to bring others down with them to their level and things of that nature to make, you know what I'm saying, the low look high. And it's really on the spectrum, in the spiritual aspect, you going too far on the polar shift and shit like that, and you think low is high. And that's the wrong way actually the wrong way to look at it and shit like that. If you would just be a higher self and being actually in the space of being high. And like I said, I don't like using the word high because, you know, for the most part, these are all just correspondence to actually states of beings that we be in. But you know what I'm saying, if you want to be high, if you know what I'm saying, like I said, if you want to I kind of forgot my point a little bit. But yeah, you know what I'm saying, you don't want to be too you don't want to go too on the low vibrational and give those things high value, because you get confused between the right and left brain and shit like that. You don't want to get too confused. You know what I'm saying? You actually want to do, you know, you actually want to be in a space where you can be a little bit more lighter and shit like that. And then that's when you in God's space. That's when you separate from the low. That's when you separate from the low vibrational. That's when you separate from your body. That's when you separate from things of the world and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Now you can get into, you know, a new space, and that's like, you know, a new space, you know, or a more logical space or whatever. Or even if, like I said, you can get into your creative natures, and that can take you into all possibilities and shit like that. And now God can work with you because you open and, you know, and free and shit like that. And you can see different perspectives that, you know, the low vibrational people wouldn't be able to see. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, when it comes to playing, so when it and then the negative and positives of the high standards and shit like that is that, like I said, you can be the positive is that, like I said, it can take you out of lower natures. It can show you new ways and shit like that, new waves, new wavelengths, new you know what I'm saying, new things, and, you know, new creativities that people ain't never seen and shit like that. And now we got some new shit that we don't all have to be fighting over one energy, and make resources be enough for us. You know what I'm saying? Like, make resources bend to our will in some way, shape, or form. You know what I'm saying? Make resources be our bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like you know, like it's kind of like that. You know what I'm saying? I hope y'all get it. If you got to have a spiritual mind. You got to have a spiritual mind and some spirituality to kind of follow me. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, creating a spaceship that is light in density, aka free of baggage. Shout out to Mind, Spirit, Soul. That is absolutely correct. Creating a spaceship, a thought, you know what I'm saying, a way to fly out of, you know what I'm saying, density. What is dense? The 1, 2, and 3rd dimensions. You know what I'm saying? Everything that manifests, and you know what I'm saying, the motherfucking 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension is dense in a way too. But you know what I'm saying? But you know, it's always scales to densities. It's always spectrums and shit like that. But so yeah, so the negatives to the high standards is that, you know what I'm saying, you can be lost in your own creativity, you know what I'm saying, and you won't, you know what I'm saying, you won't be able to manifest in some way, shape, or form, you know what I'm saying. So you might be going too far on that spectrum and that perspective, and that's when you put yourself in a position where if you go too far on that spectrum, you know what I'm saying, you lose touch with like reality. So you always got to keep some type of equilibrium and balance and shit like that, and don't be using these shits, you know what I'm saying, against anybody or whatever. These is motherfuckers for you and your spirit to not be trapped in some way, shape, or form. You get what I'm saying? So, you know, you know, and that's how we do. Like everybody, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, the positive things about the negative, one of the negative things in another aspect, and I'm gonna put this in about a low standard, is that anybody has access to it. If it's in the 1, 2, or 3rd dimension, it's low standard. Anybody got access to it. We all can die at any moment. We all can get rich at any moment. You know what I'm saying? So it depends on being in the right space, right time. You know what I'm saying? So, but that means anybody can do it. So that means people that ain't shit can do it. People that is shit can do it. You know what I'm saying? And then on the other side of the spectrum, well, I'm in the church, y'all going on. On the other side of the perspective, you know what I'm saying? In the high shit now people can be high vibrational. And the things that are high standard and really of high value, is kind of really hard to get those, you know what I'm saying? Especially, you know what I'm saying, because the bar is being raised spiritually, because real spirits is down here now. You know what I'm saying? You can't play no real spirits and shit like that. But, you know, for the most part, you know, these are things these are things that change world, that bring light, that bring something new here. You know what I'm saying? So your higher minds, that brings something new. That brings something different. That isn't that, you know, and hell is just a routine and pattern. You know what I'm saying? So anytime you do in a routine and pattern too long and shit like that, that's hell. So you know what I'm saying? You gotta be able to raise your goddamn standards and shit like that, and to have some equilibrium between the both of these and shit. That's what you get on your shit. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I hope everybody having a motherfucking good moon day, good reflections and things. You know what I'm saying? That's how we doing when we reflecting on certain, you know, topics and principles and shit like that. I'm out here, you know what I'm saying, just getting good knowledge, soaking up all the knowledge. And yeah, y'all know how I do, man. Shout out to everybody that colored came to Chicago Cito's Clubhouse. It was a beautiful time, man, just connecting, you know what I'm saying, with like-minded spirits and shit like that. We created a whole new wave, whole new spectrum in Chicago. So, you know what I'm saying, you better believe that seed gonna blossom and things like that. And yeah. So, you know, shout out to y'all, Mind, Spirit, Soul. Shout out Endless Abilities. Shout out The Will, The Way. I know as Kayla. I think that's Kayla, if I'm not mistaken. Shout out to Curly Travel. Everybody get y'all spirituality in order. You know what I'm saying? You know, balance your highs and your lows and shit like that. If you get what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? Keep them values high and shit like that in times where people try to shit on you because they think they just place some type of high standard on a low value, and anybody can get a low value. That's why y'all complain now about people running the world that ain't shit. That's demons, because it's low vibrational in the first place. Now you got to come with some new shit to be, you know what I'm saying, you got to come with some new shit to be different. You know what I'm saying? You got to come with some new shit to be, you know what I'm saying, to change some shit. You got to come with some high standard shit. You know what I'm saying? You got to look at this world like it ain't shit. Like, man, fuck that shit. Like, you got to look at this world like it ain't shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But keep some equilibrium too. You know what I'm saying? That's what puts you in the game the right way. And man, I love y'all and shit like that. I don't want nobody getting lost in these concepts and shit like that. Not if I can help it. Not while Cito, the spirit coach here, getting your ass in shape and form. All right? Get your ass in the game.